I want to tell you something that took me 20 years of research to fully understand. Your body is fighting cancer right now. Not someday. Right now. Today. As you watch this video. Inside you, there are rogue cells that have gone haywire, and your immune system is hunting them down, surrounding them, and destroying them. This happens every single day in every single person on Earth. The question isn't whether your body can fight cancer. The question is, are you giving it the ammunition it needs to win? Because here's what the research has taught me, and I've spent my career studying how food talks to the body at the molecular level. Certain foods don't just nourish you. They arm your defenses. They cut off the blood supply that tumors need to grow. They strip cancer cells of the invisibility cloak they use to hide from your immune system. They literally instruct damaged cells to self-destruct before they can become something dangerous. And the most powerful of these foods? You probably already have them in your kitchen. Today I'm going to walk you through 6 of them, ranked from remarkable to genuinely extraordinary, and I'll show you exactly how to prepare each one to get the maximum biological effect. Because as you'll see, it's not just what you eat, it's how you eat it. The difference can be the difference between a food that helps and one that does almost nothing at all. And I want to tease something right now because I know once you hear it, you'll want to stay to the end. Number 1 on this list, the single most surprising, most underestimated food on the entire countdown, has been sitting on the edge of your dinner plate your entire life. You've pushed it aside, you've tossed it in the trash, you thought it was decoration? It is not decoration. Stay with me. Engagement moment. 0:45, 1 o'clock. Before we get into the science, I want to ask you something. Drop a comment right now and tell me where in the world are you watching from, and has cancer touched your life or your family's life? I read every single comment on this channel. Your story matters, and it shapes what I bring to you each week. So tell me you're there, and let's get into this together. #6, green tea, 1 o'clock, 5:30. Number 6. And I want you to pay close attention here because this one reshapes everything you thought you knew about an ordinary morning ritual. Green tea. Not the weak, pale grocery store version steeped for 30 seconds. I'm talking about high-quality matcha or loose-leaf Japanese green tea prepared correctly, which almost no one does. Here's the story your body tells when you drink it. Cancer cells are not passive, they are builders. The moment a tumor begins to grow, it starts constructing its own private blood vessel network, a process called angiogenesis, to steal oxygen and nutrients from your healthy tissue. Think of it as an illegal pipeline built without authorization, quietly siphoning resources from your body to feed something that is trying to kill you. Green tea's most studied compound, EGCG, is one of the most powerful natural angiogenesis inhibitors ever identified. It finds those pipelines, and it shuts them down. A study from the Saitama Cancer Center in Japan followed over 500 patients and found that women consuming 5 or more cups of green tea daily had a 57% lower rate of early-stage breast cancer recurrence, 57%. For men, parallel research from the University of Nagoya showed meaningful reductions in PSA levels, a key marker of prostate cancer activity. Now here's the part that matters most if you're over 50. As we age, our bodies chronically overproduce inflammatory signals called cytokines, particularly IL-6 and TNF-alpha. These aren't just abstract molecules. They're the biological welcome mat that cancer lays down to make your body feel like home. EGCG directly suppresses both of them. But preparation is everything here, and this is where most people lose 30% of the benefit without ever knowing it. Never brew green tea with boiling water. Boiling destroys the catechins. Heat your water to between 160 and 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Steep for exactly 3 minutes. If you're using matcha, half a teaspoon on an empty stomach in the morning maximizes absorption. Now here is your synergy secret, and this one stunned me when I first saw the data. Add a squeeze of lemon. Researchers at Purdue University found that the vitamin C in lemon juice increases catechin absorption by up to 13 times, not 13%. That's not folk wisdom, that's biochemistry working in your favor. #5, garlic, 5:30, 10:30. Number 5 has been grown and eaten medicinally for over 5,000 years. Ancient Egyptian workers building the pyramids were given it daily to maintain their strength. Hippocrates prescribed it. The World Health Organization officially recommends it for general health maintenance, not a fringe publication, the WHO. Garlic. Specifically, a sulfur compound inside garlic called allicin, and the mechanism by which it protects you is one of the most elegant things I've ever encountered in nutritional science. As we move past age 65, our immune system undergoes what researchers call immunosenescence, a gradual dimming of the surveillance system your body uses to detect abnormal cells before they become tumors. Your natural killer cells, the specialized immune soldiers whose entire job is to identify and destroy cancer cells, become slower and less precise. Allicin wakes them up. It directly stimulates natural killer cell activity. It calls the immune system back to attention when aging has allowed it to drift. Research published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute found that individuals with the highest garlic consumption had a 50% lower risk of stomach cancer and a 35% lower risk of colorectal cancer compared to those who ate the least. But here is the critical detail, and skipping this single step eliminates nearly 90% of the benefit. You must crush or chop your garlic, then wait 10 minutes before cooking it. That pause activates an enzyme called allinase, which converts the raw compounds inside garlic into allicin's most potent therapeutic form. Throw garlic straight into a hot pan. You've just made a flavoring agent, not medicine. Crush it. Wait. Then cook gently. Your synergy pairing here is extra virgin olive oil. Researchers at the University of Barcelona found that the oleocanthal in olive oil, which has independent anti-inflammatory properties, combined with allicin, produces what they described as a synergistically anti-tumorigenic effect. Together, they suppress tumor-friendly inflammation more powerfully than either one achieves alone. Wolframethicine. At number 4, we arrive at a compound that has now accumulated more peer-reviewed anti-cancer research than almost any other natural substance on Earth: curcumin, the active compound inside turmeric. The MD Anderson Cancer Center, arguably the most prestigious cancer research institution in the world, has conducted multiple trials on curcumin, and what they found is this: curcumin doesn't attack cancer through a single pathway the way most drugs do. It attacks simultaneously on multiple fronts. One of the most important, it restores apoptosis. Apoptosis is your body's built-in self-destruct sequence for damaged or rogue cells. In a healthy body, when a cell malfunctions, it receives a molecular instruction to die quietly, cleanly, before it can cause problems. Cancer cells have learned to ignore that signal entirely. They've become immortal in the worst possible sense. Curcumin overrides the resistance. It reinstates the self-destruct order. A clinical study from the University of Texas tracked patients with precancerous colorectal lesions and found that 30 days of curcumin supplementation reduced early warning cellular abnormalities by 58%. After 50, your colon's protective lining thins and becomes increasingly vulnerable to oxidative damage. Curcumin fortifies it while simultaneously dismantling the inflammatory environment that colorectal cancer depends on. But here's what I cannot stress enough, and this is a mistake I see constantly. Raw turmeric powder consumed on its own has nearly zero bioavailability. Your body cannot absorb it efficiently. But combine it with black pepper, specifically piperine, black pepper's active compound, and absorption increases by 2,000%. That figure comes from a study published in the journal Planta Medica. 2,000 add a fat source, olive oil, coconut oil, full-fat yogurt, and you complete what I call the golden absorption triad. A quarter teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, a fat source, consumed with a meal twice daily. Synergy bonus, pair it with ginger. Together, they suppress the NF-κB inflammatory pathway, the molecular highway that cancer cells use to survive, more powerfully than either does alone. Natural subscribe moment, 15:30, 16 o'clock. We're halfway through this list, and I want to say something. If you've learned something today that no one has ever explained to you this clearly before, if this feels different from the usual content, that's what I do here every week. I take the research coming out of the world's top medical institutions and I translate it into language that's actually useful in your daily life. If that's valuable to you, subscribe. It's the best way to make sure this kind of content keeps reaching you. I'd be honored to have you here. Now let's get into the top 3, because this is where it gets genuinely extraordinary. Hash 3, broccoli sprouts. 16 o'clock, 21 o'clock. Number 3 is something most people have never encountered, even though it's one of the most studied cancer preventive substances in all of nutritional science. Broccoli sprouts. Not mature broccoli, though broccoli is excellent. I'm talking about 3 to 5 day old seedlings. Tiny, delicate, and almost incomprehensibly more potent than the vegetable they will eventually become. Broccoli sprouts contain between 50 and 100 times the concentration of sulforaphane compared to mature broccoli. That's not a modest upgrade, that's an entirely different category. Sulforaphane was first isolated and identified by researchers at Johns Hopkins University, who have called it one of the most powerful natural activators of the body's own internal detoxification machinery ever found. Here's the mechanism that I find most remarkable. Your liver produces a family of protective enzymes, phase 2 detoxification enzymes, whose sole purpose is to neutralize carcinogens before they can damage your DNA. They intercept cancer-causing compounds and escort them out of your body. After age 60, that enzyme activity declines by approximately 30 to 40%. Your liver's filter is weakening precisely when you need it most. Sulforaphane turns it back up, dramatically. A clinical trial published in Cancer Prevention Research followed 300 participants in a high-pollution region of China. Those consuming sulforaphane-rich broccoli sprout beverages daily excreted 61% more airborne carcinogens through their urine than the control group, 61% more poison leaving the body. measurably in published peer-reviewed science. You can grow broccoli sprouts on your own windowsill in 5 days for almost no cost. Add them raw to salads, eggs, or smoothies. Never microwave them, as heat destroys sulforaphane content. Synergy secret: add a pinch of mustard seed powder. Mustard contains myrosinase, an enzyme that dramatically enhances your gut's ability to convert sulforaphane precursors into their active form. Researchers at the University of Illinois confirmed in 2021 that this simple addition multiplies bioavailability by up to 4 times. #2, wild-caught fatty fish, 21 o'clock 2600. At number 2, I want to introduce you to a mechanism that was completely unknown to science until relatively recently, and when you understand it, it will change how you think about omega-3 fatty acids forever. It's called ferroptosis. Ferroptosis is a form of cancer cell death driven by iron-dependent oxidation, and scientists at Columbia University Medical Center have identified it as one of cancer's most profound biological vulnerabilities. It's an Achilles heel that most cancer cells cannot defend against. The omega-3 fatty acids EPA and DHA found in wild-caught fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring have been shown to make cancer cells acutely sensitive to this form of death while leaving healthy cells completely unaffected. Think about what that means. A naturally occurring compound in food that helps destroy cancer cells selectively, not randomly, selectively. A meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal pooled data from 21 separate studies in over 880,000 participants and found that people with the highest fatty fish consumption had a 14% overall reduction in cancer mortality, and for colorectal cancer specifically, a 22% risk reduction. Now here is the aging dimension that almost no one talks about. After age 70, your body's ability to convert plant-based omega-3s from flaxseed, walnuts, chia seeds into the EPA and DHA, your cells actually require drops to less than 5% efficiency, essentially zero. Plant-based omega-3s largely fail the aging body. You need the preformed EPA and DHA from marine sources directly. There is no workaround. Aim for 3 to 4 servings per week. Bake or poach. Frying oxidizes the delicate fatty acids and reduces their benefit. Wild caught when possible, the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio in farmed fish is significantly less favorable. Synergy pairing. Vitamin D3 taken alongside your fish meal. Research from UC San Diego found that the vitamin D receptor potentiates the anti-cancer signaling of omega-3 fatty acids, creating what the researchers called a synergistic anti-proliferative effect, meaning it stops cancer from multiplying more effectively than either nutrient achieves alone. #1, parsley/apigenin 26003200. And now we arrive at number 1, the food I teased you with at the very beginning, the garnish you have been pushing off your plate your entire life. Parsley. I can almost hear the skepticism, and I understand it, which is exactly why I want to walk you through the science with precision, because the research on parsley's active compound apigenin has quietly become one of the most electrifying areas in integrative oncology over the past decade. Researchers at Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center published findings in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences revealing something that stopped the oncology world in its tracks. Apigenin, found in its highest concentrations in fresh flat-leaf parsley, has the ability to bind to a protein called HNRNPA2, and that protein is what cancer cells use to hide. Let me explain what I mean by that. One of cancer's most sophisticated survival strategies is immune evasion. Tumor cells disguise themselves. They wear a kind of molecular invisibility cloak that tricks your immune system's surveillance cells into reading them as normal, healthy tissue. They walk right past your body's defenses undetected. Apigenin removes that cloak. It re-exposes cancer cells to the immune system. It simultaneously restores RNA regulation in tumor cells, pushing them back toward the programmed cell death your body intended for them all along. The Ohio State team found that apigenin reduced the size of triple-negative breast cancer tumors, one of the most aggressive treatment-resistant forms of breast cancer, by approximately 19% in laboratory models, while significantly increasing cancer cell death through multiple independent pathways. And here's what makes this so urgent if you are over 60. Your thymus gland, the organ that trains your T cells, your body's specialized cancer-hunting immune soldiers, shrinks progressively after middle age in a process called thymic involution. Your cancer surveillance team is aging and diminishing. Apigenin has been shown to support T-cell receptor signaling in aging immune systems, essentially helping a declining defense network operate more efficiently with the resources it still has. Apigenin also inhibits CDK2, an enzyme that functions like the accelerator pedal for cell division. Cancer cells have their foot permanently jammed on that pedal. Apigenin acts as a biological brake. This mechanism has been documented across multiple cancer cell lines, including lung, prostate, and ovarian cancer in research published in Molecular Carcinogenesis. Now, preparation. This is essential. Fresh parsley only, not dried. The dehydration process destroys the majority of epigenin content. Fresh, flat-leaf Italian parsley is most potent. 4 tablespoons of freshly chopped parsley daily provides a meaningful therapeutic dose. Add it to scrambled eggs, blend it into a morning smoothie, toss it into soups, or build a simple parsley salad with lemon and olive oil. You will barely taste it. Your cells will notice immediately synergy pairing quercetin-rich foods, red onions, capers, and apples. Research from the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University found that quercetin and epigenin work on overlapping but complementary anti-cancer pathways, and together produce a synergistic inhibition of cancer cell proliferation significantly greater than either one achieves alone. Parsley, red onion, apple, olive oil, lemon. One of the most powerfully anti-cancer side dishes ever assembled, and it costs less than $2 to make. For those of you who prefer a different vehicle, 2 to 3 cups of high-quality chamomile tea daily provides a meaningful contribution to your epigenin intake. Chamomile is one of the richest alternative sources of this compound. And as a bonus, its calming properties reduce cortisol, the chronic stress hormone that research has shown actively promotes tumor-friendly microenvironments in aging tissue. Less stress, more epigenin. 2 benefits. 1 cup of tea. Closing 32003400. Let me leave you with the thing I most want you to carry out of this video. Your body is not passive in the face of cancer. It never has been. Even now, at 65, at 72, at 78, at 85, your cells are running surveillance operations, neutralizing carcinogens, instructing damaged cells to die before they become dangerous. Your body has an extraordinary and persistent will to heal. What the research I've shared today tells us from Harvard, Maryland, Anderson, Johns Hopkins, Ohio State, is that the food you eat is not a neutral backdrop to that process. It is an active participant. Every single meal is either arming your defenses or leaving them under-equipped. That is not a frightening thought, it's an empowering one, because it means the choices you make at the grocery store, at your kitchen counter, at your dinner table, they are biological interventions, quiet ones, cumulative ones that compound over weeks and months into outcomes that can genuinely astonish your physicians. I have sat with patients in their 70s who told me it was too late, that their body was too far gone to respond to any of this. And I have watched those same patients 18 months later with tears in their eyes telling me they feel more alive than they have in a decade, not because of a single miracle, because of 100 small decisions that added up. You have just made one of them today. If you want to keep going, if you want this level of science brought to you every single week in language you can actually use, subscribe to this channel. That's all it takes. 1 click and this information keeps finding you. I'll see you in the next one.